Good morning. If you guys can't tell and you watched the show yesterday, we switched inside. It was a tad chilly, and we'd like to show off some of our Mecum merch, and we'll get to that in a minute. But we're just hang-tailing for auction day 4, but episode 31, our second show of the 2025 season. And Matt is teaching me new motorcycle terms today. So hang tail, guys.
Yeah, we were talking before air about some motorcycle things that are in the works. So pretty exciting as we look beyond this auction. It's kind of hard because there's so many days left, so much going on. But right behind it, we're going to be going out to Las Vegas for.
Yeah, we got a quick turnaround.
We got
for
a
that
quick
one.
turnaround. So
I'm so excited about Vegas
excited,
motorcycles.
But we have so much in store for today. Thanks for joining us for Mecum in the Morning. It is Friday, January 10th, and boy, is there a lot in store today. It's
going to be one of our longer days.
One of our longer days because crossing the auction block, we have 378 vehicles. That's going to be containing 11 different collections and 81 pieces of road art. And of course, on display in the glass houses at 917, which you just saw. Then we've got the Adventure Zone, which I think has become quickly a fan favorite, Brianne. I think everyone loves those cute little cars for the kids.
Yeah, the Power Wheels. We have the Power Wheel. So we have a Power Wheel course. And in case you missed it, Matt designed the Power Wheels course. But then we also have the Power Wheel Parade. You do have to sign up advance. So if you're bringing the kids, just go up, sign up, because we only have about 15 vehicles. And it's a cute little parade. The cardboard cutouts arrived today. So I'm really excited about those. And we'll share some photos on our social media of that. But it's tons of fun. And when Mecum says they're a family experience, we truly want people to understand that. So we want activities for people of all ages. So it's exciting.
It really is. Slack cars there, which you can see on screen. Oh man, so much to do out there.
We have to slot car race.
We will have to slot, and also I want to partake in the coloring contest.
Yeah,
because I think I would also beat you. I think I could paint just as well as those kids can.
I would hope so.
Oh man. And as you mentioned, we do have so much new merch on site. We are both rocking shirts that dropped here at the auction.
Yeah, what's on the back of my shirt?
So you've got a gorgeous Corvette, and it's right there on the screen. And then I've got the turquoise one with the Challenger next to it.
Yeah.
And then also something, Brianne, that's super fun. They saw it briefly there on screen. We have a race helmet.
We do.
What's the story
behind it? Who do you think came up with that?
I'm guessing you.
Oh, maybe I did.
You should wear it on the show tomorrow.
It is a mini helmet.
Oh, okay.
So if my head could fit into that, I'd be really worried. But yeah, we wanted to do something a little bit different from a novelty accessory item. And, I brought it to the folks that help us with our apparel and our merchandise. And I was really excited that we were able to launch it here at the beginning of the year. But it's great for your desk or for a display case. It's very nicely Mecum branded. It is not DOT approved. And also, if your head's small enough to fit it, then let's have a conversation. But yeah, it's a great accessory.
All kinds of new stuff being added. And of course, you can find that when you come out to the auction. We have 2 different locations for Mecum merch. All of that footage was shot on one of the larger location there on the Midway. And if you want to shop before you come to the auction or after you come to the auction, of course, you can go to mecumshop.com.
There are things that aren't going to be available. So, for instance, we commissioned some work with a famous artist called Nicholas Hunzinger, and our event poster was actually designed by him. They are in the Mecum shop. They are not available online. They're $20, and it's while supplies last. So get your fantastically beautiful Nicholas Hunzinger event poster while you can.
What's on the poster?
You'll have to see it, but maybe we'll get listed to cut some footage of it. But it is a tribute to the 917 that we're selling next Saturday, and it has Steve McQueen involved in it's a beautiful piece of work, and I'm really excited about it. So grab it. It's $20, and we only ordered a limited quantity.
And as you mentioned, obviously another fan favorite is that Adventure Zone, which we've got so much family fun going on site here at the auction. So bring everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it is. This Kissimmee specifically you're gonna give a tour in a minute, but it's huge. There's a lot of things going on here. Make sure that you wear your walking shoes. Make sure you see everything that's going on. One thing before we move on is we're also working with the Boys Republic. It is the McQueen's charity of choice. We have some limited edition 175 signed Le Mans posters from Steve McQueen's grandson, Chase McQueen, that are there at the Boys Republic booth. So right when you walk into the auction, before you enter the arena, there is a Boys Republic booth on the left. And they have a limited quantity. I know they've been selling them. I think you make a donation but it's signed and numbered by a member of the McQueen family. So I'm excited to bring that too.
That's awesome.
There's so many exciting activities going on, Matt.
There really is.
Yeah.
Something else that was exciting, Brian, is I was recently featured on the Hot Rod Pod.
You were. I was supposed to join you, but I had something else. So I was like, Matt, you just take it away.
And I had so much fun talking with Brian Lone and John McCann, current editor of Hot Rod. And of course, Brian Lone's, everyone knows him from his commentary.
He's great. You guys had great banter.
But it was such a fun conversation. And it was at one of my favorite locations, the PRI show, which, as I told Brian when we started that interview, I felt like walking around that show, you could cut the horsepower in the air with a knife, just because it's
the amount of race vehicles,
the amount of race vehicles, the amount of technology. But of course, the focus of the podcast was talking about the auction experience and a lot about what's happening here at Kissimmee.
I would even go a little bit further. It was about dispelling the myths of what people perceive an auction and the experience at an auction is like. I highly suggest, and Matt, you and I have talked about that throughout all last season of some of the myths that we've seen, but it was really great for you guys to sit with the folks at Hot Rod and use their platform to talk about it on a broader perspective.
So that interview just dropped this week. You can find it and a very well-written article by John on hotrod.com. It's there still on the homepage. You can find it very easily.
Yeah. Tune in, listen, read, do whatever.
Do whatever. No,
as long as you do something.
As long as you do something.
But most importantly, come here and do something.
Come here. And to get you revved up for coming here, Brian, I did give a tour.
You did.
I gave a tour, and I grabbed, I was not alone. I grabbed a friend, and here's what happened. Gary, Mecum Kissimmee is so massive. I can't take it all in on foot. I can really use a sweet ride.
Well, why don't you borrow this one?
Oh, awesome. Thanks. Woo. Man, I got a sweet ride. The sun is out, but this would be more fun with a friend. Hey, Lena, hop in.
Let's go.
Lena, a little bit about our wheels. These came from the Schrader family collection. Gary's been a long time fixture around Mecum Auctions.
I also love the color.
Can you believe, Lena, how big this auction has grown?
Yeah, it's hard to believe. It seems like it goes on for miles here.
26 years here in Florida. This year, we're over 4,500 cars.
That's insane.
It's insane. 52 collections, and we're spread out over 120 acres. I don't even know how many football fields that is, but that's a lot. And you know, there's a lot of really nice stuff crossing the block, but of course, what the automotive world has been talking about is up here. And I even, to get ready for the occasion, I'm wearing a new shirt.
You have the shirt on.
I have the shirt.
Awesome.
One stop you can't miss, 917.
There it is.
On to the next. That was the original car, Lena, that was bought new by Steve McQueen for production in his film Le Mans.
Wow.
All track use. What a unique piece.
That's cool, Matt. But around the corner here is the Adventure Zone.
The Adventure Zone.
The Adventure Zone, we have some little cars for the kids to drive, little Power Wheels.
Well, I say we've got a full charge, Lena. I say let's put this pedal to the metal and see how far out we can go.
Let's go.
Oh man, there is so much here. The Dodge Thrill Ride, for those
amazing.
that also want to experience pedal to the metal with a professional driver.
Yep, that's right.
There's all kinds of new Mecum shop, including some exclusive stuff. Food vendors.
Yes, all the food vendors.
The crepe truck is my favorite.
The crepes, yep.
The crepes, but food vendors on site. Also on site, we have all of the great Mecum services. We have Mecum Auto Transport. If you buy something, you want to get it home, that's no problem. You can get that scheduled and booked.
They'll take care of you, yeah.
We have Mecum Financial, which I love, as they say at the block, if you want to add some horsepower to your bidding.
Horsepower to your bidding, yes.
And then, of course, we just have so many cars.
Yes.
So many cars.
Every square foot, it seems like there's cars out here. I have been working Kissimmee now 6 years, and I still can't get past how many cars we have here in Kissimmee. This is amazing. Largest one we do.
Well, we made it to one corner.
We did, and we haven't even scratched the surface. Do you want to head to the other side now?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Well, first I want to give a special shout out to Gary and the Schrader family for always being up for anything we throw at them, letting us use the golf cart that they're about to sell off the auction block. That I mean, it was a lot better than ours. Ours are
It
the
was.
typical beige ones, and that purple one was really popping. However, I'm a little mad that you didn't invite me along on the trip. There's like 5 rows of seats on that golf cart.
There was.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was.
And I heard there were some interesting ways our DP, Alyssa, was capturing footage, and we might have to share it. But she was actually on the golf cart most of the time, but you didn't see her. So Jeff, who does our brand partnerships here at Mecum, got some really cool behind the scenes footage of Alyssa hanging off the cart in various ways. It was pretty cool. Also, if you noticed, the hat is interchangeable.
Wow.
I know, right? Just like the checker one we were selling last year, this one can flip to either all the Mecum repeats, or you can have the M block with a nice little Mecum repeat rim. So get them while they're last, because I think a lot of the Mecum staff want them. So get them before we get them.
Going back to the tour, Brian, I will say I think one of the my favorite parts was purple is Lena's favorite color. I learned that.
I can see that.
And so serendipitously, I happened to find the one that Gary had that was her favorite color. So I think that made her even more
did
excited.
you find that?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did find it. But 120 acres. Let's talk about the size. Let's talk about the size of.
How many football fields is 120 acres, Matt?
A lot, I would think.
A lot?
I don't.
Yeah.
How many is a football field? A single acre, maybe?
I have zero
I don't
idea.
know.
I'm a basketball fan.
We need some help in the comments about how many acres or what the size of a football field is.
Or if one of our folks back home who are watching us to make sure that we don't mess up on the show, if you could text us that information so we're informed, that'd be great. I'm looking at you, Phil.
But so 120 acres, a lot of football fields, a lot of basketball
and over
courts.
4,500 cars.
4,500 cars, so many tents, so many different things to do. Also, we have a food court, which
we have multiple food courts. So
we have multiple food courts. Lena and I touched on that briefly, but I do feel like that's important to mention is that when you do come to the auction, is that we do have a lot of options for dining. So if you're hungry,
it is cashless. So something I was hearing from customers walking around yesterday is we do tap, we do debit card, credit card, but there's no cash exchange. So make sure that you bring a piece of plastic with you to be able to purchase the food.
Also, the Dodge Thrill Ride is going on as we talk about things happening.
Do it.
We should do it. We should do it.
Yeah.
And
it's for research.
It's for
not for entertainment.
It's for research. Although the last time you did it, I think you were screaming.
I screamed the entire time.
You were screaming the entire time.
And it was right after pretty invasive surgery. So approximately there are 90 football fields and 120 acres.
We're getting
so shout out to Phil. Yeah,
nice.
Of course. You know,
Nice.
That's what teamwork does is we all help each other out. And so I've got you. Yeah, that's a lot of football fields, actually.
90 and a half?
90 football fields.
90 football fields. Okay.
Yeah.
So 90 football fields, as we were saying earlier.
So 90 football fields worth of cars.
Yeah, absolutely. As we all know, 120 acres, 90 football fields, common conversion that we that we all know. But so much space here, and of course, lots of cars. So come on out. Something else that I want to mention, Brian, is the Midway stage. This is something else that is new here.
It's going to be popping today.
It's going to be popping today. So it's happening right outside on the Midway. We've got a brand new kind of stage experience where all afternoon today and most of the days until we close out the auction, I've got interviews lined up with consigners, builders, automotive personalities.
But what importantly do you have today, Matt? So let's pump up the action that you have today on stage.
So today I've got 2 conversations, and we're going to be repeating them later in the afternoon for people to make sure that they catch. Starting with, I've got John Marshall of the Mustang Mania collection, vintage Mustang Mania collection. That's a wild group, Brian, of some very classic. When I say that, I think most of them are around from the era that I actually like, the 90s and 2000s.
So are there Fox bodies in that
Mustangs,
collection?
there's Fox bodies. There's
Phil from our digital content team loves a good Fox body.
He does. There's also SN95s.
Yeah.
Which is the generation of Mustang after the Fox body.
Yeah, and you talked to me about that. You've actually educated me, and I feel like I do have I can wax some Mustang knowledge, not like you, but like I did know that you taught me those terms and why certain things are named, certain models are named for whatever.
Yeah, and as we've talked before, terms like that are kind of engineering series monikers, but they kind of become, as the cars become more and more legendary or desirable with collectors, they kind of take on their own personality. So Fox body is a big term, but the collection out there does have a lot of those. It's got SVT Cobras, it's got Roushes.
You guys are going to talk about all of that and like how he acquired them, the history of them.
Yeah, so John was good friends with the owner of that who passed away. And so we're going to be talking about just the love of that. I know it involves some racing because I believe they were involved in
Oh,
some
I
kind
love
of
me some racing.
some racing efforts. And so I encourage everyone to come on out. And then right after that, I've got a conversation with the father-son team of Modern Classics. It's a shop that are retrofitting modern Challengers into these reimagined 1971 Cudas. They've got a really cool story, and I've asked both of my guests to share all kinds of behind the scenes photos. So I've got a great presentation that goes with it. So if you're here at the auction, come by the Midway stage. You can catch that live, and it will be repeated again. We're going on, I think 12:30 to 1:30, and then again at 3:30 to 4:30.
Can't wait. I'll be sure to turn in for at least one of each of those shows. I'm excited.
And a lot of other stuff, as you mentioned, we've got a lot of other guests, and certainly on the morning shows, we can tease that. And then if you go to mecum.com, go to the Kissimmee auction page, and then the Midway stage tab is where you can find the full schedule.
Yeah, well, I'm excited, but what does it take to put together an auction, Matt?
An auction that takes place on the size of roughly 90 football fields.
Exactly.
I'm assuming, well, as we learned yesterday, 2 villages.
Yeah. Why don't we check out a great video, a short snippet of a video that we currently have live on YouTube called The Heart of Kissimmee.
Mecum Auction has a long history of being in Kissimmee. We've now been at Osceola Park for nearly 20 years. We've grown from probably a 200 to 300 car auction to a 4,500 to 5,000 car auction. We started out on a little corner of a parking lot, and now if you look at it, we're using 120 acres of this place. We've got 10 to 12 acres of tents, glass house tents, showroom tents, display tents. And the reasoning behind all of that is every year we get more and more and more very high-end cars that need and warrant a high-end display. My name is Harold Gertis. I am the VP of Operations at Mecum Auctions. I don't think anybody could have predicted, except for probably Dana Mecum, that it would ever grow into anything this big. We have roughly 500 people working here on the setup and the crew over the course of the event. If everybody does what they're supposed to do, there's not much to go wrong. The planning for this event started before it ended last year, because you take all the things that are happening and you start rolling in ideas to make it better for next year.
Kissimmee 2025 has been a year in the making. Just for this event, we've brought in more than 10 semis of AV equipment. My name is John Yeomans. I work for Marquis Rental and Staging. I was contracted about 18 years ago to start providing audio, video, and lighting for Mecum Auctions. The hardest thing about this job is making sure that the little details don't get lost in the scope of the project, because the details are really what make the experience at Kissimmee. It doesn't stop here. When we're done setting up, the cars start rolling.
It's always amazing to me because, you know, when you're a spectator, you come and everything's set up and you don't understand like the blood, the sweat, the tears, the planning that goes into it. Something, one, I want to thank Harold for coming from behind the scenes and joining for all those interviews and all that fun. But the amount of work, one thing that he said was, we start planning for next year now. So we've already, you know, Dre from the presentation team, Sam, our COO, Harold, everybody have already been looking at the elements now to see what we can change or what we could do better for next year. So the planning never stops, especially for, you know, the size of this place. There's always room to like change things and, you know, the improvement. And, you know, shout out to the Marquis team. I know that I throw them for a loop all the time, but I also didn't realize until watching this video that John Human, who has to deal with us all the time, has been, you know, helping out Mecum as a contractor for 18 years. I do want to know, and I heard, you know, from some employees, there are so many more people that are involved with the process of setting this up. So many that don't often get on camera, and maybe we'll do some more series and highlight some of those other aspects, but there are a million people to create these 2 villages.
It really is a great behind the scenes look about what goes in. Like you identified, you know, guests and spectators and bidders will come to an event like this and it's all set up. It looks great. It looks amazing. And there's so much work that goes in. So I do encourage viewers, go over to Mecum's YouTube channel And that's actually just half of the full
Not
piece.
even. It's a
Not
it's
even.
an 8-minute piece, and
Wow.
we just showed 2 minutes of it. So it to me, actually, Sam, my boss, the CEO, laughed at me the other day because I got a little emotional, not in a bad way, but I have never been to a Kissimmee like this before. I came to the Florida, the Florida event, and it's not even half this. And just seeing the amount of work, but just all, Harold's been with the company since day one. So he's seen it when it was like 20 cars selling to now 4,500 cars selling. That's just the transition that Harold has seen and been a part of at the helm, from like, how do you handle it? How do you, grow to capacity, or how do you set up every single thing? And Harold's team is incredibly small. Now we do have contractors and, event vendors that help us, but Harold's the one who really like leads the arm of the execution of all that, and like coordinating all that and having constant communication. It's a lot. It's so fantastic. But yeah, I get emotional thinking about like the passion that people bring to working with Mecum. Everyone wants to see Mecum succeed, wants to see each other succeed, and it really is a great family environment.
So head over to Mecum's YouTube channel, watch the whole video, and you'll learn a whole lot more about what goes in. Speaking of learning, Breon, it's time for more auction education with Gus.
I
know
love
you're
some
excited.
education, and I love Gus, so I'm excited. What is he bringing us today?
Well, today Gus is going to be talking about where to stand.
The best thing to do is walk up next to your vehicle, and as we're approaching the auction red carpet, you're going to stand on the on deck symbol on the ground, on the carpet, and as that car approaches the auction block, you're going to walk with our Mecum staff member to help you get that car sold right to the sold sign in front of the auction block. And at that point, the auction is engaged at that point, and the car is up for bidding. So we're going to continue our relationship with you by asking and telling you where we're at with bidding, so you guys can make the right decision with us and get that car sold. It is important that we're connecting with you on that reserve number. Even though you've submitted that prior to the auction, we're revisiting because the market changes at times. And we want to make sure that we don't miss the opportunity to sell that vehicle with you with the numbers that you predicted at the time of that sale at the market versus what might happen. It might be more than it's valued at today, 3 months later as you consigned it, but we want to be there for you. We don't want to miss the opportunity with you. The best thing to do is track your car when you get here, follow that run number throughout the day, and it all goes in order. And then as the car comes closer to the auction block, stick to the left side of the car.
It's like baseball, it's on deck, and batter's box is the next.
Correct. Yeah, if you put it in sports terms like that, that's our next spot right there. So as long as you follow our on deck and our sold signs with your car and our auction staff, that'll be your cue. It says sold. Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Angie and Ronnie, as your experience when you call up Mecum Auctions and you decide to potentially sell your car, the questions came up which auction would work for you.
And when I spoke with Steve, he suggested that the car would sell better at the Las Vegas venue, and we would have more time to add the advertisement for the car.
Cars do sell anywhere these days in the country. The point is some sell a little better in a market. And with us, it's all about marketing. We want to do the right timing with everything, and we suggest probably 35 to 45 days as a minimum, and that's why Steve suggested coming here to this auction with that car.
And you look out, you've got a pretty good sized audience, so it's a little intimidating, but exciting at the same time. We're here with my father's 1969 Mercedes SL280, which was owned by Conway Twitty.
After talking to him and walking through it, it was way more simple than we thought, and I'm looking a lot more forward to it now. So.
Well, so when the auction starts, after we leave like the show studio area, I go and sit behind the block, like right next to, everybody. And sometimes I like to go out to where Gus was showing them to stand in the first place. And I love to ask people if they're willing, like, why are you here? Like, what is your car? Like, why did you choose Mecum? And then just try to make them less nervous, because you can see a lot of like the first time, consigners a little bit nervous, and just helping them calm the nerves. But when their car rolls off the block and it's sold, the excitement, like I kind of just want to like steal some of that and like sneak in and just hang out with them and like celebrate with them, even if I've just met them. But it's really cool that they're allowed to follow along the entire process, and be there, for their car and wish it well to its new owner.
I'm always impressed, Brianna, about how much thought goes into the auction process.
Yeah.
Because I will say, I think a lot of consigners arrive, and it can be intimidating when you get up there on the block and there's so much going on, but yet we have the big stickers there on the ground. Obviously, we've got tons of personnel up there on the stage to help guide people where they need to go.
Yep.
And so I just love it. I mean, it's just, it really is making it as simple as possible to get the vehicle the best possible attention, and also to help the consigners feel comfortable about that process.
It is. There's so many shows within a show. There's so many aspects and different like things that go on at an auction that are so interesting to watch. Like it's great. But yeah, I'm you know, again, thank you to Gus. Always willing to be a part of, you know, our educational videos, and you know, even shout. I think sometimes he gives us ideas and he's like, "Hey, Alyssa, let's go film this or whatever," and you know, whatever. But yeah. I think Mike Matt is having a mic problem, so bear with him. So more than willing to talk for a second.
I know, yeah.
Matt did get a really cool shirt. We had mentioned on the show, Matt had given a tour with Kim Robertson, and he was very excited about a tour that he gave. Then I had mentioned on the show, like, they need to design T-shirts since they come all the time, right?
Yes. So I think I have a funny feeling. Maybe you were so jealous that you disconnected my mic, so I couldn't tell.
I did.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so we talk about fans and engagement, and I will say I love how our show, our Mecum in the Morning show, is getting a fan base. And I got to say, yesterday when I was wrapping up on the midway stage, I ended the conversation that I had, and I heard a group shouting my name, and I was like, oh, I wonder who this is. And sure enough, it was our friends from Kansas City. We had them on the morning show. Kim at the service station identified that this group of friends loves Mecum Auctions. They've come out. We featured their kind of friendship and about how it really materialized coming to Mecum. And then they said, hey, we're actually coming to Kissimmee for the first time. And when we had our final show at Kansas City, we showed that package.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I were like, this group of friends has to make T-shirts.
Yep.
And so they did. And so there's the shirt that they made. So I love it. You can see the St. Louis Arch, and then the firefighter logo on the door.
With palm trees.
With palm trees.
Yeah.
So, but I just love it. And they were so excited. They said, hey, thanks for the idea. I think they're all wearing the shirts today.
I love it. We'll have to get pictures.
We'll have to
send
get pictures.
Kayla, who's helping out with us, to go get pictures of them if she sees them in that shirt.
And the firefighter is because a lot of them are either active or retired firefighters, and that's where a lot of the friendship. But I love that. And of course, wherever you're watching, drop us a comment. And if you come out to the auction, say hello to Brianna and I. And yeah, we'd love to talk with people who are watching the show.
Yeah. Questions, comments, buy some cool merch while you're here. One of the cameras.
And as we wrap up, we will see you here tomorrow on Mecum in the Morning. And in just a couple moments, the auction will be starting, and you can catch all of the action heading over to Mecum's YouTube. And of course, our TV broadcast
starts today
on Max. Have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow.